Hello everyone, welcome to another iRacing video, and it's another new car and track combo for me this week. The Formula 3 at Bathurst, where practice has gone from bad to worse to even worse. And if this is how difficult I'm finding it on an empty track, imagine how tough it's going to be with 25 other cars. I think we're going to be in for a long half an hour. Well, considering how much we struggled in practice, it's actually quite incredible to think that we're going to be starting this race from the fourth row. However, this grid doesn't paint the full picture because around 2/3 of the drivers have opted against putting in a qualifying time. Well, either they've opted against it or they've just binned it, which is equally possible. We've been given the number 15, and if I can finish this race inside the top 15, I will take that as a very good result. But the key priority here is not to crash. If you crash at Mount Panorama, chances are that you'll end up in the wall, which will mean lengthy pit repairs. So our one goal from this race is to stay on track, avoid any contact, and hopefully we'll see crashes galore around us. That will be where we can make our positions. Well, that's the theory anyway, that's the game plan, but of course that could all unravel within one lap over the mountain. You never know what's going to happen at Bathurst, but we've got through turn one okay, and we're in a decent position. However, I am going to be very cautious when it comes to these guys behind me, because as we saw from the grid, not many of them have put in a qualifying time. For all we know, these guys could be really fast, and Andre Cadet behind me could be one of those drivers. He didn't qualify, so he started well down, but he's got the number 2 plate, so that suggests to me that he's fast. And I don't think it makes any sense to try and defend or battle with these guys if they're quicker than me. I'm just going to let them through. On a track like Mount Panorama, where so much can go wrong, I don't want to add any extra jeopardy into this race. I want to take things easy and stay safe out there. I am very relieved that no one has made any urgent lunges during this first lap. Everyone seems just to be taking their time, which is exactly what you need on lap 1 over the mountain. We've just reached the summit now, so it's all downhill from here, literally. We're already starting to lose a bit of ground on the driver in 7th, Molina. That gap is up to 1.5 seconds, and we've got Gardetta behind. 0.3 of a second is the gap now. He's breathing down our neck, and as we exit onto the Conrod straight, it looks like he's got a lot more power. He's going to pull alongside, so we're probably going to lose this 8th position here. But I'm going to stick to the game plan. I don't want to get drawn into a battle. We're just going to let him go by up the inside here. We're not going to make it too difficult for him. In fact, we'll just lift off the throttle slightly to let him ease through. So there we are, Gardetta up to 8th. We might lose another position here because Munoz has dived up the inside. He's taken 9th. That means we're down to 10th, but I'm not at all worried about that at this stage. The game plan has always been to take it easy on these opening few laps, give everyone space, let them through if needs be. I'm hoping that by giving away a few positions on our terms at this early part of the race, we'll get them back in the later stages when the aggressive drivers start to crash out. So we're on to lap 2, and confirmation from the leaderboard that we are in 10th position. However, I suspect that might become 11th very shortly, because Griffin Gona behind looks like he's got some serious pace. He's in our slipstream now, so I'm suspecting he's going to pull out alongside. There he goes, he's going to have the inside line into turn 2, Griffin's bend. So yeah, we're down to 11th, Gona up to 10th. But more importantly than that is that we've survived lap 1 around the mountain without picking up any damage. Actually, I'm a little surprised we didn't pass anyone in the pits that first time around. However, there's a puff of smoke and a warning from crew chief that someone has binned it. It looks like Molina in 7th, who's rejoined right in front of us. Now, has he picked up any damage? Are we going to be able to get around him? Well, the answer was no. Molina didn't pick up any damage, but he was very lucky, losing the rear around the cutting there, but crucially, he kept it out of the wall. Molina lives to fight another day. Back to the live action, halfway through lap 2, we're just going over the skyline into the S's, and we're about 1 second behind Molina, but I don't think we're going to keep up with him. He's back up to full speed. A bigger concern for me is what's going on in the rearview mirror. Ross Schaefer looking like he wants to make a move up the inside into this left-hander, and he's lost it. And you know what? I think we got really lucky there. We were that close to being taken out on lap 2. Yeah, I didn't realise quite how close until I saw the replay. Schaefer closed about 2 seconds on me in this lap alone, so he was on a mission, but that's how close it was. Looking back from my car now, you can see he runs it way too hot, locks the brakes, loses control, and just misses us. Lap 3 now, we're climbing up through Quarry Corner, and we've actually got a little bit of breathing room now. 2.5 seconds to Molina in 10th, and a gap of nearly 2 seconds to Jeff Schroeder behind, but we're going to get the yellow flags. There's a damaged car on the grass. Keep your eye on the red car of Cesaris. He was actually in 6th position, and he's going to have the same accident as Molina a couple of laps ago, losing the rear on the entrance to the cutting, only he clipped the wall, and I think that might have given him some wheel alignment damage. He's really struggling to turn the car, and there's an even bigger hit into the wall, and that was when we had the opportunity to get by. Let's jump forward a lap to the same part of the track. We're in 10th position after that crash from Cesaris, but we're unable to keep up with Molina and the crew ahead. Instead, we're looking behind us because Jeff Schroeder is closing in fast, and he's going to get even closer now as we make our first big mistake approaching the skyline. It was a real heart-in-mouth moment as we mounted the curb and went onto the grass. Exactly the same scenario that caused a huge shunt in practice that you saw at the start of the video. We survived this time though, but Schroeder is now right on our tail. And I'll be honest, I was rattled after that close shave at the top of the mountain. I'm not feeling at all comfortable or confident as we come down the hill, and Schroeder surely is going to sense he's got an opportunity here. He's got a much better drive, and he's also going to pick up some draft, so I'm expecting to see him make a move up the inside like before. I don't think I'm going to defend. If Jeff wants to go, he can have the space. The best thing for me right now would be just to settle my nerves after that close call at the skyline, and I think it'll be easier to do that if we're behind Schroeder rather than in front of him trying to defend. So we've given him that 10th position there. We're down to 11th, but it gives us a much needed opportunity just to settle down a bit, get our composure back and start finding some rhythm again. But 4 laps down, 10 to go. Well, we've said all along that our game plan was to bide our time and wait for the drivers ahead to make mistakes, and then it started to happen. This is Corentin Perrot smashing out of 5th position at the top of the skyline. That promoted us back into 10th position, and then we lost a few of the guys who were chasing us from behind. We're watching the number 3 car, Kantazak Kazuri, just getting a little bit tangled up with the number 8, but he's going to get in far more of a tangle now with Christian Diaz. Diaz caught out by Kazuri having to brake to allow that rejoin in front of him, runs into the rear, and then they just can't get separated until it ends in an almighty wreck at the final turn. Well, Perrot's crash may have promoted us back into the top 10, but once again it was only temporary. Marcus Hudson closed the gap and then made the move up the inside into T2. So that's Hudson up to 10th, me down to 11th, and we'll rejoin the live action towards the end of lap 7. And we're in real danger here of slipping even further away from the top 10 because we've got 2 fast drivers behind, Jesus Galan and Jonathan Alonso. Now we're going to switch on the TV cam because these two are closing in fast, but they're also battling quite hard with each other. We can see now Galan right on my tail as we approach the final turn. In fact, he might even be sizing up a pass up the inside into the final turn. We've just about got our nose far enough ahead to stay in front for now. But yeah, we're under real pressure. But look at Alonso in the red car. He's going to have a look up the inside of Galan into T1. Is he going to make it stick? It looks like he has done. Galan takes a faster, wide line through turn 1. That'll give him a bit more exit speed, so I suspect he might just have the grunt to stay ahead of Alonso here. But yeah, these two battling each other really hard now, and that's going to benefit us. It's going to give us a little bit of breathing room. And now we begin the climb up the mountain again for the 8th time. Marcus Hudson in 10th is now 1.5 seconds clear, so I suspect we might have seen the last of Hudson. I don't think we've got the pace to stick with him. Instead, we've got to concentrate on Galan and Alonso behind. It looks like Galan has just opened up a few tenths over Alonso now, so we'll switch the TV cam off. We can always revisit that battle if it gets tasty again, but yeah, it looks like Galan has got a little bit of space now, which will probably mean he can concentrate on his own race, and that'll mean he'll be back with us in no time at all, because he's certainly got pace, and he's only 0.6 of a second behind as we start this downhill section of the mountain. you know what? I'm really struggling with that final turn that leads us out onto this Conrod straight. It's costing me huge amounts of time, not just in the corner, but also after it, because we're so down on speed compared to the cars behind. Look at Galan now. He's going to tear past us up the inside, and we've got no option but to give him the space again. So yeah, Galan into 11th. That drops us back down to 12th. And I've just glanced in my rearview mirror expecting to see Alonso challenging as well, but he's nowhere to be seen, so we've lost Jonathan Alonso at some point coming down the mountain. We'll go back and check out a replay shortly, but Galan has lost it going into the final turn. Galan spins out. He took that 11th place from us, but only had it for 2 corners. And actually we're back into the top 10. We must have lost someone else. Right, let's consult the replay and we can see what happened to everyone. Starting with Alonso coming down the hill. I was saying how much I struggled in this corner, but not as much as Alonso there. A crunching end to his race. Here we see Galan spinning out of the final turn. And when we crossed the line, we learned that we'd gained another position, and it's because of this spin. That's Mark Carter, the driver who was in 2nd position and chasing the leader, Reece Hollingsworth. Jesus Alfonso in 3rd gets by okay, but the next car's not going to be so lucky, and there's big contact riding on board. Diogo Neves had nowhere to go, and that contact puts Carter out of the race and also damages Neves' front wing. Lap 9 then, and all I really want is just a bit of peace and quiet at this stage of the race, but we're not getting it as we begin the descent down the hill again. Now we've got another driver, Alvarez, for company. He's only half a second behind. Now we know we're not great through this turn. We're never that fast out of the corner, and it costs us speed down this long straightaway. So are we going to be under threat from Alvarez by the end of this straight? He's still 0.5 of a second back at the moment, so we might just have enough of an advantage to hold on to this 10th position for now. He's clearly picking up some draft though, Alvarez. He's close right in. Is he going to make a move up the inside here? He did think about it, but he's not quite close enough. He's going to want to get on the gas early, a bit too early out of the corner. He's lost it. Yeah, for all the danger of the mountain section at Bathurst, we've lost our last 2 challengers in these final couple of turns at the end of the lap. Well, it's taken 10 laps, but finally my wish has been granted, and I've got a little bit of peace and quiet here at Mount Panorama. We're in 10th place. Hudson in 9th is 4 seconds clear, and we've got a gap of more than 4 seconds now back to Galan. But further up the track, things aren't quite as calm. This is Molina in 6th position, having a huge lock up into the S's and careering into the concrete wall. That damage is severe. Somehow he's able to get the car going again. I'm not quite sure how, but as you can see, it is looking very worse for wear, but he's going to try and drag it back to the pits on 3 wheels. Hopefully the other guys can get through okay. Yeah, he's staying well out the way. Let's return to the live action from my cockpit, because we're just approaching the skyline now. This is where the incident took place, and shortly we're going to see some leftover remnants of Molina's car right there on the track. So at this point we know something big has gone down, but we just don't quite know what. Thankfully at this point we're still under no pressure at all. Galan is 3.8 seconds behind, so we're charging down the Conrod straight in a comfortable 10th position. We're expecting that soon to be 9th position, because we know there's been a big smash at the top of the mountain. What we don't know yet is that Molina is still trying to drive the car. We're going to get a glimpse of the yellow flags. That's Molina limping through these final couple of turns. There he is. We're going to give him a wide berth, get around him on the left-hand side, and that puts us up into 9th position. And that 9th place felt pretty comfortable for a lap or so, but unfortunately I was due another mistake, and it came with just 2 laps to go. We're beginning the descent down the hill now. And it's that corner that I've struggled with all race. We're just going to run it in a little bit too hot. We're going to creep towards the barrier. We make contact. And immediately I fear the worst. Have we picked up wheel damage? It doesn't look like it. However, we have given Galan the opportunity he needs to close right in and pull alongside. So we're going to lose this 9th position now. But looking at the bigger picture, I'd much rather lose one position than a wheel. So I think we were really fortunate not to pick up any damage when we cleared that wall on the exit of that turn. So anyway, we're down to 10th place. Galan is up to 9th, and I suspect now that we won't have the pace to keep with him. But before we beat ourselves up too much about making a mistake, let's remind ourselves that even the best can do it. This is our race leader, Reece Hollingsworth, losing it on the penultimate lap as he approaches the skyline. Now, he got really lucky there because he managed to keep the car away from the barrier, so he's able to rejoin without any damage. However, he has lost the lead. That's Griffin Gona going through to take first position. However, Hollingsworth is clearly still rattled because he's going to make another mistake, and this time he's going to take third position, man. Jesus Alfonso with him. Back to the live action. We're approaching the end of lap 13. There's only one more lap after this one, and look who's back for some more fun. Constantino Alvarez has recovered from that spin a few laps ago, and he's right on our tail again now. He's going to be looking to take this 10th position, but as we cross the line, all eyes are on pit lane. Is the leader, Reece Hollingsworth, still in there? Molina's certainly still in there, and yeah, there's Hollingsworth too, still getting repairs, so that will promote us into 9th position with one lap to go. Alfonso must have been able to stay out, so he clearly didn't pick up too much damage in that clash with Hollingsworth. So we're only up to 9th, although I suspect we might have our work cut out to hold on to it. Alvarez is looking menacing. He's going to make a move up the inside into T2. He thinks better of it, but we're going to miss the apex. Run out a little bit wide on. There's more contact with the wall. Once again, I held my breath there, thinking that I'd picked up some damage. This time we have, but we might be okay. We might be able to bring this car home in 10th place. And that's exactly what we did. That mistake at T2 was another big warning of how quickly things can go wrong. So we decided to let Alvarez have that 9th place. We were happy to bring it home and take the checkered flag in 10th and get a welcome iRacing boost. And anytime you come away from Bathurst with a positive safety rating as well, it's got to be considered a job well done. Let's take a look at the classified results then. We said at the start of the race we would take a top 15, but it went considerably better in the end. We got a top 10 finish. We had a couple of scares in the latter stages, 2 times clipping the wall. Thankfully we escaped without picking up too much damage and we were able to bring it home. But absolutely delighted with that result. If you've enjoyed watching it, please do remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done already. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers for now.